Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Build The RedBull RB7. Today I bring issue 60 where we will be fitting the main shaft. In the magazine today we've got Tyrrell at its peak. We have the 1971 Drivers' Championship where Jackie Stewart won in his Tyrrell on 62 points. And our parts for this week's issue. Okay, so we have our front center diff housing, we've got our rear center diff housing, we've got 2 brake pads, 2 brake calipers, we've got 2 oval head screws, we've got a countersunk screw, and we've got 3 countersunk self-tapping screws. Okay, so we've got a couple of pages of instructions here, guys. We've got a picture here of Webber and Sebastian Vettel at the 2011 Brazilian Grand Prix, and let's get stuck into the building. Okay, so the tools we're going to need for today's issue, we're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, and we're going to need our main shaft assembly. Okay, so first up we're going to need our front center diff housing, and we're going to need a 3x12mm screw and a 3x10mm screw. Okay, so we're going to flip our RB7 upside down, and our front center diff housing will go up underneath these 2 screws like that. So we'll be working with these 2 screws there. Okay, so you want to put the longer 3x12mm screw through the main chassis hole, and the smaller 3x10 goes through into the side chassis, okay? Then flip it over, and you can see that the front center diff housing is now attached to our RedBull RB7. Okay, so we can see the little recess here in the front center diff housing, okay, for the ball bearing of the main shaft to slot into. So we're going to grab our main shaft, and we're just going to pop it in to the front center diff housing there like that. And then we're going to grab our rear center diff housing and place it over the rear end of the main shaft, clipping it up over the ball bearing. So it pretty much holds itself into place. We're just going to flip it back over and place some screws up through the chassis into the rear center diff housing. So now we'll be working with these 2 screw holes here. Okay, so once that's down nice and tight, you want to flip it back over, and we can see here that the main shaft is now installed to our RedBull RB7. So you just want to push that aside for now, and then you want to grab your brake calipers and your brake pads and the 2 remaining screws and your brake disc. Now you just want to grab the 2 screws and thread them through the soft, smooth side of the caliper. Place the 2 pads on there, and then finally the other brake caliper. And it should finish off looking something like that. Okay guys, so that concludes issue 60 of Build the RedBull RB7. Later on this week, issue 61, we have our gearbox cover, we have our brake cam, we have our rod collar, and a series of screws. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode of Build the RedBull RB7, and I will see you guys very soon in the next video. Thank you, bye bye.